All right, looks like we're going live. Looks like I'm live. I don't know. It gives me a preview with a delay. So I have no idea. I should go back and watch some of these streams and see if they start with me just staring blankly into the distance. But welcome if you're new to the channel. I am Dr. Taylor Jones. I have a PhD in linguistics, and I recreationally learn languages. I make content that's about linguistics, language learning, and language, culture, everything in between. So today, I am going to be continuing to study Hebrew. I've been studying Hebrew and Arabic. Tomorrow, I probably won't have my Arabic live stream because I can finally get in to the barber. He couldn't do today, but it's been too long. So the next few videos that you see from me, I'm going to have a pretty good fade. What? Hold on. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. What does that mean? That cannot be correct. Viewers might experience buffering. How is that the case? I'm plugged in. I'm going to try something dangerous. Okay. Zev already got your cut and shave. That's excellent. I don't know why this is telling me that you might experience buffering. It might be my camera. I was having problems filming the other day, so I'm a little worried and a little wary. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Okay. I guess you'll all let me know in the chat if you do experience buffering. Zevo buzzcut is, especially in this weather, we're getting warm everywhere. It's the way to go. I see Kavinagi 9. Welcome. I've got this very alarming error showing up on my YouTube studio, and I have no idea why it's buffering or what's going on. But hopefully it's not too terrible for you all. So we'll keep this going. You don't really need to see me all that much. I'm mostly going to be sharing my screen anyway. But maybe this has to do with why I failed at filming a video earlier. I don't know. Tech. It's very confusing. All right, Aaron, shalom. Kavanagi shalom. So, shalom lekulam. Brochim habayim. I am going to kick it off. Now, I've been studying, for anybody who's been following along, I've been studying with the Routledge Colloquial Hebrew course. This is the first edition. I have the second edition, the actual physical copy I'll show you. And I have been relentlessly complaining about the editing in this book. It's not great. It's one of the best things that's out there, but it's not great. Dara, I'm glad to hear shalom, and the video quality seems fine on your end, so that is good. They updated the book, so I'll show you. I'm using version 1. They updated it to version 2, and version 2 has all sorts of errors that they introduced from from 1 to 2, which is usually not the way it's done. The idea is that you actually eliminate errors. But anyway, where we last left off was, I think, Unit 4, which is, it's a very popular restaurant. This is Evel asking how my Lag BaOmer was. It was fine. It's pretty good. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather out here. And to be honest with you, it's still going on. Because I'm in New York. I see DYSKR. I don't know if that's Disker or if that's whatever, but yes, I am focusing on modern Hebrew right now. I do have recommendations for biblical Hebrew for those who are interested, and I may do something about that, later, more publicly. I've been leading a like a small study group that's not streamed. And that's effectively a separate language. It's like learning, I don't know, it's like reading Chaucer or something, where it's clearly English, but it's a little different. Maybe closer to Shakespeare than Chaucer, but it's somewhere in that range of like, oh, I recognize that, but also, wait, what are they saying? If you're interested in that, I have recommendations. Thaxton is not Thaxton, that's Persian. Lamdan. They all have very similar names. Lamdan is my recommendation for biblical Hebrew. So for colloquial, this is the first edition, but there's all sorts of other stuff. We were last in chapter 4, and let's see, Maya and Peter are in a restaurant. They had ordered a bunch of stuff. blah blah blah. It's fine. So if you're using a textbook like this, let me move where I am on the screen, and then I can talk to you a little bit more. If you're using a textbook like this, I definitely have some recommendations about how to go about this, which I try to reiterate every single live stream because they are helpful. So here we go. I'm on the other side now. Am I? Come on, come on. Here we go. So what I usually recommend is for something like this. Look at the table of contents, see what you're going to learn. So I have that on the right-hand side over here. And then as you go through, look at each chapter, what the headings are. And you should have an idea of the grammar that you're going to learn. If you have an actual grammar book, that's even more helpful. You can see, like, what are the things that I need to know to be able to understand how to just put the language together. And then books like these have a bunch of topics that they teach. So this one, for instance, chapter 4, you're talking about how to order a meal, how to talk about food, more verbs in group 1. In the second edition, one thing that they do better is they actually talk about what they mean by group 1. In this case, they say pa'al verbs, and they say you're going to learn verbs with the middle root, with the middle letter hey. So that's like ani ohev, and then you see like the dropping of the vowel and anachnu ohavim and that kind of thing. So see what you're going to learn, and then we're going to kind of pace ourselves through here. We talked a lot about the particle et, which we'll talk a lot more about forever, basically, because it's difficult for non-native speakers of Hebrew and Persian. Persian speakers get it because they have a very similar thing. Nouns in the plural, easy. Adjectives and how to use them, easy. And we learned yesh and ein. Now, I want to compare at the very end. So we're going to get to mishpacha v'tochniot, which is family and plans. But I want to compare at the very end because they have a different exercise here that is Maria Gonzalez, which took me an embarrassingly long time to read. The original, the first time I was trying to read this, like these, where do we have it? These words here. I'm like, what is Maria? Maria. Anyway, here they have like a couple of things in new vocabulary, and the idea is that it's Miss Brazil, and she's staying at a kibbutz, and she's eating a ton of food, and the other guy's jealous. But I think the vocabulary is actually different. I think the dialogue is actually different between the two. So I'm going to compare because I learned more in the second edition. This was one thing where it was actually beneficial. So let's see. There's a cultural note here on kosher restaurants, which is, they exist and it's complicated. But you can even compare. Like I'll switch screens here so you can just see this in the second edition of the textbook. You can just see there's a lot more vocabulary here that they explain. And there's a couple of pieces where they say here, let's see, I'll just go over it. So they have visits, which they've already taught, and another one says mevakeret. So Maria Gonzalez mevakeret kibbutz. They call her a bachura, which is the feminine of bachur, which I know as a bocher, like a yeshiva bocher. It's a young man. So she's a young woman, bachura. They call her slim, which is raza. I have a question here for the native speakers. They say she's gorgeous, and they say that's chaticha, which looks to me like it's related to the word slice, like a slice of cake, which, I mean, come on, I get that, but somebody can confirm that for me. Zelva, you said you want to learn linguistics for fun. How do you learn what you do to learn it? Wait a couple of months and I will actually be doing that on the channel, but also I do have book recommendations. And Hebrew grammars and PDF, I strongly recommend both the Essential Grammar by Louis Gleinert and Hebrew, like a Hebrew grammar, just a full grammar by Louis Gleinert. It is dense. It is very much an old-fashioned, like, philologist's kind of grammar, and it is fantastic. All right, let's see. Yair, hello. Shalom, shalom. All right, so somebody tell me, is chaticha a adjective that means gorgeous? Is it related to, like, to be cut, to be sliced? Then they have, they teach Yoshevet here, so she's sitting. And that's something that the new version, I think they do really well. I'll show you again, just so you can see it. They have the verb, I'll get my face out of there so it focuses. The verb, so you can actually see that it's, how it's used in the dialogue. Then you have the actual roots separated by periods, and you have the infinitive. So that's really nice. You see Yoshev, Yoshevet, and they have here lashevet as the infinitive, and I know that is yud, sin or sheen, and veit. This is a Paul verb. So they have dining room. They have new words, fried, meduganot. They have dieta, davka, which we could do a whole day on, probably beikar, which we've already learned from Mana Ikarit, the main course, and also from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov saying vehaika, vehaika, lo lefached klal, which is the main thing is to not be afraid of anything or to not be afraid at all. But then they have one that I need to ask about. So met al, that's met al. I'm trying to get my T's more dental. So it's mem, tav, and then ayin, lamed. And that says I adore. Okay, so Yair has confirmed chaticha is a piece. A slice of cake, a snack. All right. I don't think I'm going to forget this one anytime soon now, and I will probably be abusing it and misusing it. But okay, they say I'm to adore something, literally dying for met al, and I want to know how to use that. He talks about rolls here, lachmanya, jam, hungry, and the point, and they have nekuda, which is interesting because it's like nikud. So, all right, here's this. Maybe that's not what it is actually. We'll figure it out together. So, okay, this dialogue in the first one, they have, papers Zevel, thank you. Hebrew University in Jerusalem, all right. So this one, we have Maria Gonzalez, Miss Brazil, so like, it's actually way harder for me to learn things that are just not Hebrew, posing as Hebrew. So he mevakeret bakibutz en gev. Maria, Bachura Raza, Vechaticha, so we have, okay, she's chaticha. Ochelet, arochat boker, becheder haochel. So, told you I can actually read when I have to. Let's see. Maria bedieta, vehi ochelet rak. And then the new version has rak in quotes, because I guess they didn't think it was sarcastic enough to be caught by language learners. But hi ochelet rak, shte betzim kashot, toast im chem'a, so toast and butter. She could have had toast tzarfati, but whatever. Veriba, so with jam. Salat, chasag gadol, so she has a big lettuce salad. I love that you have to say lettuce there. Avocado, pilpelim, melafafonim, and I want to say that people probably say vebatzal, but I have been taught to learn uvatzal. Somebody tell me which one is more accurate. Pipoka Kemada said, for the longest time growing up as a Reconstructionist Jew, you thought it was Yeshiva Booker, as in one who studies books at the yeshiva. I love it. By the way, we talked about Yoshev and Yoshevet, to sit. That's where yeshiva comes from. You'd sit, at the feet of your teacher, and they would sit and teach. So there's a relationship. And I also like Booker. Let's see. Eric says maybe chatich is a back formation from an original noun chaticha to make it a masculine adjective. But you're just speculating. Yeah, I couldn't find it in the dictionary that I have, so I wasn't sure. I didn't bother putting it into Wiktionary, so we can check that next. We're going to come back to that. Please, somebody tell me if you would say uvatzal or if you would say vebatzal. I have a feeling the informal, casual way of speaking, people might just say vebatzal, or ubatzal. But I know that it's been drilled into me to say uvatzal here. Okay, so she's eating a lot of stuff. Higa mochelet, so she's also eating cornflakes. Really hard to figure out what these things are. And then again, do I say veperot or do I say uferot triim? Okay. Ve is colloquial, u before labial consonants, higher register. Okay. And would it be ubatzal or uvatzal? Because it's now, I know the rules for like the siddur and I don't know, or the sidur if we're talking in modern Hebrew. Vebatzal, says Zevel. That's what I thought. Okay. Language change in progress. All right. So, Maria Yoshevet al yad Yossi. Yossi. What is he saying? Hashemach? I don't know. No, Hashemen? Oh, that can't be. That's not what's in the new one. That's not what I read. Yeah, the new one says Maria Yoshevet Mul Yossi Mehakibutz. So not next to him, she's across from him, and it's just Yossi Mehakibutz, and not Yossi Hashemen Mehakibutz. They took that out. I guess they thought that was rude. I'm assuming this is like the fat person. Gam Yossi Bedieta, so Yossi's also. Zelo says the V and the O sounds are interchangeable, but there must be like a nuance. Okay. U is never used in regular speech out of set expressions of vebatzal. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's the impression that I have. But then when you study this stuff, they're like, you have to learn to be formal. All right, and we can listen to what they say too in the dialogue next. So Maria Yoshevet al yad Yossi Hashem me'akibutz. They changed this. They updated it to be less, I guess, offensive to Yossi. Poor Yossi. So Gam Yossi bedieta, and somebody starts talking, and they say, "Ata lo ohev bitzim." You don't like eggs. That must be Maria. And it goes, "Ken ani davka ohev bitzim." So yes, I really do like bitzim. And I see Ken is the same here. So like, yes, I do. Not like, no, I do. It's yes, I do. So that's interesting. And then he says all the things that we talked about last week, different ways of making eggs, right? Rakot, kashot. And they have beikar mekushkashot. I don't know why they've added the little nikud over the like the little dots over the vavs here. They're not in. They're also, I guess, they are in the one here. So she says, and I can already tell you this is different because there's 4 lines here and there's way more than 4 lines in the updated dialogue. He said this book is wrong and ruthless. All right, so he says, Ken, ani davka ohev bitzim, rakot, kashot, v'beikar, mekushkashot. And then she says, ma'im, which is not in what we're looking at here, but in the new version, she says, ma'im lachmaniot v'riba. So what about rolls and butter, which is like mean. Ma'im, please somebody tell me, do you say that stuff? Because I noticed that was new in this new version of the book. So ma'im yada 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 yada. That's like, what about? That sounds exactly like it's probably calqued from Yiddish vus mit or vos mit. For anybody who speaks Yiddish, it seems like that might be the origin here. It looks suspiciously like a calque. But okay, ma'im lachmaniot ve'riba. And he says, ani gam met al lachmaniot chamot im chem'a ve'riba. So he really loves that. So Zelo says Vav makes its own. U sounds in addition to Vav is probably not originally makes. Yeah, correct. All of that correct. And today you need a double Vav to express the Va like davka. So somebody tell me about this met al. Ani met al. What does it say? Ani met al lachmaniot chamot im chem'a ve'riba. So I adore. This is like I'm dying for, but I want to understand how to use this. Is it declined for gender? So would she say like ani met al whatever? I want to know how to use this. I like it. Do people use this, or is this not it? Beitzim is also yeah. Thank you. You say ani met al beitzim. Kashot. Gdolot. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Kvadot, right? Heavy. Just say va and I'll be fine 90% of the time. Somebody tell me about met al. Zelo, do you say ani met al something like I like this? And if it's a woman, do they say ani meta, ani is like, how does met work? It's an adjective? I don't know. It's like a participle. They just dropped this new stuff in the book, and there's no explanation other than like it means I love. Okay, so then I think we pick back up. No, he says ani gam met al lachmaniot chamot im chem'a v'riba, and she says ma ata lo. She goes ma ata lo raev. What? You're not hungry? I hear it perfectly just reading it. Then he goes, lo zot lo ha-nekuda, lo zot lo ha-nekuda, which is not, like, none of that is in the first edition. Zot lo ha-nekuda, that's not the point. And then we pick up as lama ata ochel rak, and what does she say? This has changed, actually. No, rak, yogurt. So, also, I just want to point out, like, the dialogue, when I talk about this being sloppy, I'll show you again. The dialogue, there's like bullet points or dashes to introduce different parts of the dialogue, and they're not consistent. Let me get my face out of there. Focus. Boom. So, like, you have lines here where they're just not, they should be there, but they're not there. So, just silliness. Okay, let me come back to here. Sergio, shalom. Yes, is pretty used. Right now, welcome, Sergio. We're talking about met al, ani met al something, and met al, okay, ani met al X, I love X. Actual Israeli conversation. So, I was asked how my Lag BaOmer was. It's still happening right now, but we went to Shawarma Shabazi, which is fantastic. And I got to use some of this food-related vocabulary because I had schnitzel pita. So I haven't yet had a chance to order strudel anywhere, but, it's coming. So anyway, she goes, as lama ata ochel rak yogurt, which I love. This is like, I can hear how this is just very sort of culturally Israeli. So like, why you are eating yogurt? And he says, ki ani bedieta. And she says, as ma? Gam ani bedieta. And he says, ze lo fair, which they have spelled two different ways, even in this. So in the new one, they write fe yud yud resh. And in the old one, they have just fe resh. They also have, helpfully, transliteration in the new edition. So there's all sorts of like weird things where some of it's easier, some of it's harder, some of it's better, some of it's worse. I'm going to see if we can listen to this and see what they say. See how it sounds. I also want to hear if there's like uvatza, that kind of stuff, if they're like being super formal.
Maya says to Peter,
No, Maya says to Peter.
Note the prepositions.
I will not.
Role play.
Role play. No, thank you.
This exercise is based on exercise 1 in the book.
My mouse.
Dialogue 2. Peter is out in the street and realizes that he's forgotten Maya's office address.
Oh, I got it.
Pen and paper.
Okay.
Let's go over some adjectives. Can you give the opposite? Now listen to the dialogue. What alternative dishes does the waiter offer? Role play.
Oh my goodness.
This next dialogue can be found in the book as the reading comprehension.
All right, so we are going to open with Audacity as usual. For those of you asking why, I like using Audacity because it's a free open source tool where I can clean up audio, I can slice and dice the audio, and then I can export it and analyze it in something like Prot, or I can export it to, I can just export it to like WAV or MP3 and dump that into an Anki deck. So it's all good stuff. Let's see what we have here.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
זה לא fair.
Can you say why? Join Maria Gonzalez, Miss Brazil, who is trim and good-looking.
רזה וחתיכה.
On her visit...
See, like right away, I could, if I wanted to, we could take that. Let's zoom in a little bit. Where was that? רזה וחתיכה.
Join Maria Gonzalez, Miss Brazil, who is trim and good-looking.
רזה וחתיכה.
And boom.
רזה וחתיכה.
I could totally just drop that into an Anki deck if I wanted to. Export selected. Okay. Most people read it as, what is this? Yeah, fair. Okay. Yeah, I initially read the the one in the new book with just pei resh as par, like par or something like that, and was confused.
On her visit to Kibbutz Ein Gev, she's sitting in the dining hall at breakfast, in front of a plate piled high with food, and starts a conversation with Fat Yossi.
יוסי השמן?
Okay, they really leaned into it in the first edition. Fat Yossi.
A kibbutznik who is sitting next to her. He is staring sadly at a single pot of yogurt in front of him.
Yogurt.
Listen to the scene being set in Hebrew, and then follow the dialogue.
מריה גונזלס, מיס ברזיל, מבקרת בקיבוץ עין גב. מריה, בחורה רזה וחתיכה.
Okay, let's hear that. בחורה.
מריה, בחורה רזה וחתיכה.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to look at this in Prot because this is how I like to do this stuff. So I'm going to export selected audio. Because I want to see what's going on with Bukhara, which I can't say right now. Miss Brazil is probably the most well-used vocabulary in Hebrew. Okay, what do we say? Miss Brazil. Miss Brazil. Brazil. Yay, day. Okay. Enough of that Narishkeit. Let's go. Hebrew audio, Miss Brazil, and we will open with Prot. If you're unfamiliar with Prot, it is a free open source software that's used by linguists to analyze spoken language. And I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing here. So we're going to view and edit. And here we go. Miss Brazil.
מריה, בחורה רזה וחתיכה.
Okay, Maria, I don't need that. So we'll just kind of focus here. Already I can tell you that the B is like pre-voiced before it's released, which is good for me to know. So, בחורה.
בחורה רזה וחתיכה.
Chaza v'chaticha. So let's hear. This looks like this is the whole first word.
בחורה.
It is.
בחורה. בחורה.
This honestly looks a little like you have cha and w. Like bachora, bachora. Like the R sound is not even like we're taught that it's like ra, like a French R, and then I hear that people go like ra, 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 but this seems like it's almost like a wa.
בחורה. בחורה.
Like if you asked me what I'm hearing here, I would not come up with like bachora, like what you see in the transcription. I would definitely come up with like bachora, like an IPA would be like B schwa X U and like an A.
בחורה.
Bechora.
בחורה. 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 בחורה.
Wild.
בחורה רזה וחתיכה.
Now is he sort of like, is it dissimilation because of a following R? Who knows?
רזה וחתיכה.
Because that's more raza, raza.
רזה וחתיכה.
Okay. For those of you who don't know phonetics, Zevel said his R sounds like a motorcycle. Okay, yeah. Ninja Raven's buchuch. All right. So the top is the actual waveform. That's the sort of sound waves. That's the pressure effectively measured. And then the bottom is a fast Fourier transform, which gives you a lot more different kinds of information. So like the big spiky areas on the top here, these are the vowels. And then down on the bottom here, you can start to figure out what the consonants are, where they're made, and all this stuff. It takes a little bit of training. And I see there's a Family Guy joke. I don't know that one. I see, yeah, the Hebrew R is definitely an approximate that can sometimes be very weakly articulated. I think that's an understatement with Bahura.
בחורה רזה וחתיכה.
וחתיכה.
וחתיכה. וחתיכה.
And look at this T. This is a perfect T. Just silence for like 20 milliseconds and then a nice little release here.
וחתיכה.
וחתיכה. Okay. So Maria, Bahura, Raza, v'chaticha. That's all that I need from Prot. So goodbye, Prot. Actually, what I could do if I wanted to is record myself, play it back, listen to the difference, and then even measure and compare. But I won't do that right now. The main thing that's really useful for is getting your intonation good.
אוכלת ארוחת בוקר בחדר האוכל.
Okay.
מריה בדיאטה, והיא אוכלת רק 2 ביצים קשות, טוסט עם חמאה וריבה, סלט חסה גדול.
So, חמאה וריבה, okay.
סלט חסה גדול, אבוקדו, פלפלים, מלפפונים ובצל.
Uvatsal. So this is like he's talking about this on the news or something? What's going on here? Like, uvatsal.
סלט חסה גדול, אבוקדו, פלפלים, מלפפונים ובצל. היא גם אוכלת...
Let me ask the native speakers here, so that's Zevel, Yair, anybody else who's a native speaker. If I just say salat, and I don't say salat, Chasa. What comes to mind? I know if I say salad in the UK, they think, mayonnaise. But what comes to mind for an Israeli if I say salat? Just no qualifiers like ani rotze salat. What do I get? Let me know. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's not salat chasa.
היא גם אוכלת קורנפלקס ופירות טריים.
Uferot. So viperot? Yeah?
ופירות טריים. מריה יושבת על יד יוסי השמן מהקיבוץ.
I'm getting information here about Buchwuch from... Okay. Chaim sheli, let me know. I see you texting me.
מריה יושבת על יד יוסי השמן מהקיבוץ.
So, salat עם מלפפונים, עגבניות, בצל, something like that. That's what I thought, with עם זיתים. Okay. Maybe red onion.
מריה יושבת על יד יוסי השמן מהקיבוץ. גם יוסי בדיאטה.
They're doing Yossi dirty.
גם יוסי בדיאטה.
Gam Yossi bedieta. What is that? It's coming to me from Persian. It's like getting transmission here. It's like, regime? That's what it borrowed from French. Regime konam or something like regime konam.
אתה לא אוהב ביצים?
אתה לא אוהב?
אתה לא אוהב ביצים?
Oh, I love it. There's no H there. Lo ohev. And I just hear lo ohev.
אתה לא אוהב ביצים?
Oh my goodness. Chaim Sheli is texting me that Stewie made up a joke holiday. It's like the rabbi makes up a holiday and it's Buchwuch. There are a lot of holidays. And, you can convince people. Sounds like book week in Yiddish.
אתה לא אוהב ביצים?
כן, אני דווקא אוהב ביצים, רכות, קשות, ובעיקר מקושקשות.
Man, they're just playing into the stereotypes here. So they have Fat Yossi talking about all the different ways he likes eggs. He's sort of like, Forrest Gump kind of character.
אולי אתה רוצה קצת לחם וריבה? אולי אתה רוצה קצת לחם וריבה?
I feel like that's not even in the version of the textbook I just showed you. Is there an ulai? She's talking. Oh no. Ulai אתה רוצה קצת לחם וריבה?
אולי אתה רוצה קצת לחם וריבה? אולי אתה רוצה קצת לחם וריבה?
רוצה קצת. I love it. רוצה קצת. There's a song about like the bomb is ticking and it reminds me of this. It's like מתקתקת. It's just רוצה קצת. Okay, love it.
אולי אתה רוצה קצת לחם וריבה?
She sounds like a ticking clock right there.
כן, אני מאוד רוצה לחם, ריבה, גבינה, ואפילו חמאה.
אז למה אתה אוכל רק יוגורט?
כי אני
אז למה אתה אוכל רק יוגורט?
This is a perfect place to talk about intonation patterns in Jewish English and Hebrew and all sorts of other languages where there's much wider pitch range than in a lot of other languages. And this is perfect. This is a perfect explanation of that for a question.
אז למה אתה אוכל רק יוגורט?
אז למה אתה אוכל רק יוגורט?
אז למה אתה אוכל רק יוגורט?
It's just like perfect. She's like a air raid siren.
אז למה אתה אוכל רק יוגורט?
Okay.
כי אני בדיאטה. כי אני בדיאטה.
כי אני בדיאטה. כי אני, so כי אני בדיאטה. Okay, let's see. It's interesting how the pronunciation of salad is identical to that of Yiddish. It's borrowed. Salad is one of those words like chocolate or avocado that are just, they're borrowed in basically every language. Tea.
כי אני בדיאטה.
אז מה? גם אני בדיאטה.
זה לא פייר.
אז מה? Is that like so what? אז מה? גם אני בדיאטה. I wish they had included אני מת על לחמניות עם ריבה, לחמניות חמות עם חמאה וריבה. Okay. Well, Zevel said you sent me some resources. Excellent. I love it. Ninja Raven's other channel mentions, not to mention a lot of the immigrants were Ashkenazim in general. Yes and no. Yes and no. Like, yes, a lot, but also proportionally, especially in the history of the country, not as many. Although earlier on, maybe, but also there were people who already. It's a whole complicated thing. The history there is complicated, but there definitely is some influence from Yiddish, as well as the other languages that people spoke, from Arabic and from wherever people were in diaspora. they brought some of that flavor with them. But there's definitely a fair amount of like Yiddishisms borrowed back into Hebrew, which I think is super cool because you have Hebrew and Aramaic influencing what is effectively a variety of German, and then like that influence making it its own language, and that own language going back and influencing Hebrew, and Hebrew becomes the spoken language of, you know, everybody again. So it's very kind of cool stuff. All right, so let's move on to chapter 5. This is fun. A late shalom lekulam from Chris. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. And I see Ninja Raven's other channel, personally more interested in focusing on biblical Hebrew because you want to understand ancient texts more. I hear you. I will... Honestly, I think there's probably... it would probably be smart for me to focus on that because if we're being real right now, modern Hebrew... there's like maximum, I don't know, 20 million people in the world who are interested in it, like really interested in it. And that's giving like a high estimate. I'm including a lot of non-Jews there as well. Biblical Hebrew, there's probably like 3 billion people who have like some interest in it. Maybe 2 billion, I don't know. So it might be smarter for the channel at some point for me to like wade into biblical Hebrew, but I want to talk to people now. So, you know, I want to talk to Yossi Hashamen when I go by kibbutz. Okay, so Yair said, generally speaking, pronunciation-wise, the vowels are Sephardic and the consonants are Ashkenazi, mostly, but not always. Like, the history is really interesting. I have a couple of interesting books on it on the shelf that I can recommend later, too. And maybe I'll just do a video on, like, the history of the language at one point. So, 5, Mishpacha v'tochniot. In this unit, what are we going to learn? We're going to learn how to express possession. Okay, we're going to learn verb group 1, which is still all verbs, but they're going to say middle root letter, yud or vav. So that's really sometimes referred to as like defective. That's like, that's going to be like singing and arising in the morning and so on. Question words like which and still which, but so eze, ezo, elu, ele. Demonstratives, ha'ele, hahem, hahen, to be able to, so that's yachol, which behaves like an adjective, and word pairs. So in the first edition of the textbook, they really did not want to overwhelm you with grammatical discussions. In the second edition, they talk about compound nouns. They say smichut, singular form. They have all the, I mean, they literally have Hebrew in the descriptions here. But we're talking about what's sometimes referred to as construct state or compound nouns. All right. Zevel, thank you for corralling all the likes. Like and subscribe. if you like what you're seeing, let me know. Like and subscribe. So as I mentioned every live stream, I don't do the dialogues first. I look at the vocabulary first. Then I might look at the English. I might even try to see if I can generate the dialogues from the English with the vocabulary that I have. And then I'll go back and read it, and then I might listen. The other thing that I like to do is go through and read the grammatical points. I don't know why they're like, here, listen to this, and then read it, and then, you know, now we'll tell you what they said. I'd like to know all the pieces first and then put them together in a meaningful way. So let's go just straight to possession. Let's actually go to vocabulary and then possession, because vocabulary, they're going to use the vocabulary to introduce talking about possession. So plan is a tochnit, that's feminine. Tochnit. Tochniot, I'm guessing, is the plural, tochniot. And I see Ruben said, just want to say your George Floyd article and your AAVE article on court is great work and personal inspiration for your linguistics PhD thesis. Email me about that. Let's talk. Thank you. First of all, that is incredible, and I'm deeply flattered, and thank you for telling me that. But email me, and I'd love to hear more about what you're working on. It's thelanguagejones@gmail.com, and then I can provide you with other email addresses as well as meet our needs. But thank you for that. That's incredible. All right, now back to the regularly scheduled program. So plans, tochniot, your, shelcha, which is a preview of where we're going. Yesh lechem, again, you have, so that there is to you. And this is basically the way that everything is formed as far as I understand. Special, meyuchad, from the root, same root as like echad, one, so like unique, right? Special, unique. 2 PhDs in the chat. That's right, Seville. There's not a lot of PhDs in the world, so, and way fewer linguists. All right. Yeah, Ninja Raven says you already know a decent amount about Hebrew words, but you're too used to the Ashkenazi vowel pronunciation and tav being soft and a lot of words. I'm trying to learn that. I'm struggling to learn that, and it's it's really hard because this is what I'm used to. Okay, so meyuchad, meyuchedet, meyuchadim, meyuchadot, I assume. Anashim is the plural of people. This is a really old word, so it doesn't seem like it, it looks weird compared to like ish and then anashim, but there's a history there. And this is effectively an archaicism in Hebrew, even older than the rest of everything. Chaim, they have a little footnote here where it's like, lechaim, like, you've heard this. Mima, from what? To start, leatchil. So there's also, within Jewish jurisprudence, there's, within halakha, there's a concept of lehatchila versus b'diavad, which is like, the correct way to do things from the outset versus something that's acceptable, I guess, ex post facto in Latin. So to begin, lehatchil. Lifgosh, this is group 1, so that means they say it's pa'al, so lifgosh is to meet. We've already seen lihipagesh, which has the same roots, which is to meet each other. Zevo says, you want to learn linguistics? Do it. Why do they single out the root of lifgosh but not leatchil? Because they're completely inconsistent. Now, in the new one, they actually, let's see, what do they have? Leatchil, they say it's hif'il unit 8. Okay. Now, the trade-off here is when they add that stuff to the vocabulary, they now get the vocabulary lists, so the actual words in Hebrew transliteration and definitions don't line up anymore, and they are very confusing. So, just sloppiness all around. And your choice is: do you want more information, but everything at a slant, or do you want everything all lined up, but they don't tell you what kind of word it is? So, leatchil, it is a he-feel verb, meaning to start or begin, and you'll learn he-feel verbs later. Zevel, to life, l'chaim. L'chaim, to life. If you aren't familiar with it, so I'm sure everybody knows that song from Fiddler on the Roof. If you aren't familiar with it, though, Cannonball Adderley and Nat Adderley, his brother, I guess, they recorded an album of jazz covers of everything from Fiddler on the Roof, and it is amazing. And if you've never heard a hard bop, like post-bop, Cannonball and Nat Adderley version of To Life, do yourself a favor, find it on YouTube next and watch that and listen to it. It's amazing. The whole thing, I mean, it feels like they understand, and they also bring their own culture and musical knowledge and everything to it. It's fantastic. So Cannonball Adderley, Nat Adderley, Fiddler on the Roof, a match that you wouldn't think would be made in heaven, but it's beautiful. All right, כמובן, זה טוב מאוד, זה מצוין, I don't know, what do I learn? מפגן? I don't know. There's a bunch. Okay. What do we have here? Atar historique, so a historical site. Atari, so Atari is for the children. That's totally going to be my mnemonic for this. Atari is for the children. Atar historique, you take kids to historical sites. Makom is place. That also, the place is a euphemism for the infinite. Mikomot, kadosh, so akadosh, yeah. Amakom is a euphemism, is another word for Akadosh Baruch Hu. Matzia is to suggest. You'll notice this one is not in the infinitive, but it's leatzia, and it is a hif'il verb as well. And they have also uv miuchad, which is and especially. Zavel, how would you say and especially? Would you say ve b'meuchad, or would you say uv meuchad? Zevel, I know it's just atar, but my mnemonic is going to be Atari. Atari, 2600. There's I think it's either RZA or Jizza. I don't know. It's not the old Dirty Bizza, but it's RZA or Jizza that has a song that's like Atari 3600 is for the children. Okay, Atar. Histori, penultimate stress. Histori. Okay, Atar Histori. So why do they not have that highlighted? Let's see if they do in the new version. Crazy book. Okay. I cannot believe that this and Duolingo are like the best things out there, but they seem to be. They don't have it updated in the new version either. Meochad, uv meochad. Okay, so Chaim, ובמיוחד. That's what I thought. Just make it normal. Make it easier. All right, so if I scroll down here, they want to talk about possession. Possession is expressed in various ways. One way is to use the preposition shall. So, of Silverstein, Shel Silverstein. So Peter's plans, the plans of Peter, hatochniot shel Peter, the restaurant, the menu of the restaurant, hatafrit shel misada. And then it can also be expressed in English by the adjectives. We'll call them that, sure, fine. My, your, his, her, as well as by the pronouns mine, yours, his, hers. In Hebrew, both these forms are conveyed by shall with the appropriate endings. So we've already seen in Unit 2, Boris introduced Jan, his his Dutch relative, as Karov Sheli, and Sheli is made up of shel and the ending of ani. Okay. In this unit, Maya asks Peter, what are your plans? Hatochniot shelcha. Shelcha is replacing ata. There's this weird thing in Hebrew where ata, at, there's like the ta sound and a ch sound kind of interchange in certain places where they're related. So shelcha is related to ata. Shalach is related to at. There's historical reasons for it, but it's one of my favorite sort of like interchanges in languages where like these two are basically the same thing. So yeah, here's a list of all the pronouns. So this is easy. This is the pronoun object pronoun clitics as Don Renge at UPenn would say, just bunged onto the end of the word shel. So sheli, shelanu, shelcha, shelcha, shelach, shelachem, shelachen, shelo, shela, shelahem, shelahen. So really easy. This cha is like a ta here, so atem, aten, hem, hen, anu from like anachnu, and then same thing, ta, at, o, a. So very, very straightforward. This is also the endings on like past tense verbs for the most part. Like this is going to show up over and over and over again, and is easy. Okay, note. NB. NB is something I never saw until grad school. It's like nota bene in Italian. Or not, what's the thing that came before Italian? Latin. Really old Italian. Latin. Nota bene, which is the contracted form literally of me, of you, always follows the noun, although it precedes it in English. So abayit sheli, not my house, but a house of me. Abayit sheli. And I know I'm going to have questions about this later around like, construct state and more specific stuff, but they have an example. Zeh misrad sheli. This is my office. Okay, so that's not super hard. It's annoying to me that they taught kamuvan and kanere in the same thing, because kamuvan is what, of course? Kamuvan? And let's scroll up and see it. Naturally or of course, and then kanere is like probably. So they're too close to remember for me. Let's see. Remembers the Hebrew ani comes from Proto-Semitic ana with the final vowel changing by analogy with the possessive verbal e suffix. So e is not a shortening of ani, but kind of the other way around. That is awesome. I'm never going to forget that. That is great. Okay. Dalia, Dorit, Ben, and Alon share a flat, and they've been shopping together. Dorit has gone out, and Ben is so exhausted he's gone for a nap. How do you say a nap in Hebrew? I know in Yiddish it's like chapa dremel, which is not helpful. Tmuna, that's a painting. There's something. Tnuma, is it like, somebody tell me how you say a nap, because I don't know. All right, pretend I'm Talia. Okay. The chicken is Ben. Ha'of shel Ben. The fish is yours. Hadag shelcha. Who am I talking to? Hadag shelcha. Whatever. It's yours. Beitzim shelanu. Dorit ve'ani. Hummus shelcha. Alon disagrees. If you were alone, how would you say? Whatever. Okay. Blah blah blah. So possession. To have or have not. Yesh la or ein la. So the lamed here. This is when instead of a pronoun, you're using an actual noun. Duolingo is actually pretty good at this, and you'll notice they move things around with the preposition. So, I'm going to say Boris. Le Boris yesh chanut. Boris has a shop, but it's like literally to Boris there is a shop. Fine. L'Yerushalayim yesh atarim kadoshim. So Jerusalem has holy sites. And L'Avital ein kartis. So Avital doesn't have a ticket. So yeshli, ein li, yesh lecha, ein lecha. That's fine. And then we have the rest there. So far so good. Let's go back now. And let's actually take a look at the dialogue. I'll do it here with English and transliteration for those of you. You should be able to read. If you are trying to read already, you should be able to read this far in. And if not, this would be helpful for everybody else. So, az ma tochniot shelcha, Peter? What are your plans? So, what are your plans? Az ma tochniot shelcha, Peter? Ma b'diuk, what exactly? Ma b'diuk ata rotze la'asot po? What exactly do you want to do here? Any other culture, not any other culture, maybe not Russian, but like a lot of other cultures, this would be considered extremely rude. In this culture, it is just like showing interest, which is a sign of politeness. So, az ma tochniot shelcha, Peter? מה בדיוק אתה רוצה לעשות פה? And he goes, יש לכם ארץ מאוד מיוחדת. Y'all have a really unique country. אני רוצה לראות איך אנשים חיים פה. How people live here. Which is totally what a spy would say. He's just lying, right? I just want to see what's up. All right. Let me take a look at the chat. People most likely say Shnatz Tzacharaim. Oh my God. I love it. Tnuma also means nap or short sleep, but people don't use that word. I know that word is like slumber and sleep descending on your eyelids, and it's within a liturgical context. But Shnat Tzacharaim is the best. Shnat Tzacharaim. Shnats. You would use Shnats even late in the morning or in the evening. That's the real question. Okay, so it's like a siesta. Shanat Tzacharaim, and it's become Shnats. What's not to love about this language? Okay. And what do you say? I want to do a Shnats. I want to have a Shnats, take a Shnats, lekabel, la'asot. Anachnu Shnatzim. Like, what do you say? How do you put it in a sentence for me? Ani rotze Shnats, like... אני רוצה לעשות שנץ, אני רוצה something. If I want a schnatz, how do I schnatz? I'm feeling schnatzy. Okay. יש לכם ארץ מאוד מיוחדת, יש לכם שפה מאוד מיוחדת. אני רוצה לראות איך אנשים חיים פה. צהריים. or צהריים. אני רוצה לשנץ? לישון שנץ, okay. Yeah, okay. לעשות שנץ too, or לישון שנץ. I want to sleep a schnatz. I love it. Or I want to do a schnatz. So אני רוצה לעשות schnatz. Give me a few minutes. I love it. There's even the verb form lishnotz. Okay. And if I want to, okay. Now I'm like, can I sleep myself? Can I lehit shanetz? Like, okay. Yesh lecha rak 10 yamim. So she says, you have rak 10 yamim. You only have 10 days. It's awesome. Mima ta rote להתחיל. So from where do you want to start? Where do you want to start? Let's see. Getting texts from Chaim Shali about a particular rabbi we know who just keeps quoting the Slonim Rebbe. And it's a drinking game, just like when I talk about pronouns. Okay, lishnot pa'al verb. I know, but I want to like expand the paradigm here. Can we make it like an intensive? Can we make a PL verb? Can you cause someone else to? Can you make it causative like PL or hifil or something? Okay. Let me just learn how to schnatz. אני רוצה לעשות שנץ עכשיו. אוקיי, יש לך רק 10 ימים ממה אתה רוצה להתחיל? אני רוצה להתחיל עם שנץ. I want to start with a nap. אוקיי, אני בעצם, עצם is from bone, right? אני בעצם לא בטוח. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. Because בטוח is also like it's safe, right? Is this medication safe? It's בטוח. אני רוצה לפגוש אנשים מהעיר, מהקיבוץ, ואפילו ברחוב. So I want to meet people. I want to encounter people like rencontrer in French, אני רוצה לפגוש אנשים מהעיר, מהקיבוץ ואפילו ברחוב, even on the street. וכמובן גם לראות אתרים היסטוריים, so, and naturally, גם לראות אתרים היסטוריים, okay. So naturally, and of course, natürlich, right? וכמובן, I don't know why I'm saying it like that's Dutch. וכמובן, גם לראות, okay. וכמובן, גם לראות אתרים היסטוריים. ובמיוחד, right? That's how you would actually say it. At Yerushalayim, notice the et there, because Jerusalem is an object of being seen and is definite and, all this stuff. So ובמיוחד את ירושלים והמקומות הקדושים. מה את מציע? What do you suggest? So מציע is להציע, or מציע, because he's talking to Maya. So מה את מציע? What do you suggest? And she's like, dude, I don't know. Come to the kibbutz. I think that is actually what they do next. So let's see. Zman, we already know. Mekarer is refrigerator. That's from cold. Kar. Okay, we have some examples. Leonatan, in Zman ha'erev ki yesh lo kartisim leteatron. Natuurlijk is Dutch. That's right. Yahor. Natürlich is German, not Dutch. Natuurlijk is Dutch. Did I say it with a sh sound? It's all rattling around in there. Let's see. כמובן. Okay, אני needs yeah, I'm going to sleep you. Okay. Try saying, no, Zevel, I'm not going to do that. That's too many vowels and dots. Okay, you overhear your teenage daughter talking on the phone about some family friends she will be visiting. I guess teenagers aren't learning Hebrew. Okay, Mr. Rabinovitz has bought a house. Weird. All right, let's do, I got a couple more minutes. Let's just see what the next one is. I told you they're starting in the kibbutz. יש לך מזל, המשפחה שלי גרה בקיבוץ בצפון. You're in luck. My family lives in a kibbutz in the north. We'll look at the vocabulary here. Mazal is fortune, literally is constellations. And there's famously in Mazal Yisrael, which is there's no constellation that affects the Jewish people. If you're not Jewish, then you can be a Pisces or an Aries or whatever. If you're Jewish, that stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. It's right there in the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan, I think, is the one saying it. But anyway, Mazal, good luck, fortune. Eze is which? Bekibbutz, betzafon. Tzafon is north. Tipusit, or is the stress somewhere differently? Muhammad Bunny says, what, Zevel? That's not the saying. Okay. Somebody tell me where the stress goes on tipusi. Tipusit? Or tipusi? I don't want to mess that one up. Around, like as, that's ka, as in like kmona, rishona. Kacha is this way, like that. That's così in Italian, right? Like so. Yachol, lish'ol, to ask, sha'al, livgosh, to meet, which was in the previous one. I don't know why they put it here. Mashe, that which, chevrutit, so friendly, bo or bohi, and natchil, let's start. So that's leatchil. Natchil is the future. We will start, that's the future. So we get a little, bo, natchil, whatever. We'll start with, come, let's start with this. So let's see where we are. יש לך מזל, המשפחה שלי גרה בקיבוץ בצפון. And he goes, באמת? באמת? I always want to say באמס. באמת? איזה קיבוץ? And she goes, קיבוץ משמר השלום, זה קיבוץ גדול וטיפוסי. יש לנו... Oh, Zevel, are you saying... טיפוסי, okay. Are you saying that the kibbutz that her family lives in, Batzafon, has gotten evacuated? That's dark. קיבוץ משמר השלום זה קיבוץ גדול וטיפוסי. יש לנו כ-300 משפחות. We have about... What, 300 families? And he goes, מצוין, ככה אני יכול לפגוש גם את המשפחה שלך. So he's like, great, like that way I can even meet your family. ככה אני יכול לפגוש גם את המשפחה שלך. I can meet your family. I'm really trying to speak faster, but also like acceptably. כן, וגם חברים שלי. So you can also meet my friends. They all live on the kibbutz. אנחנו משפחה חברותית. So we're a friendly family. אנחנו משפחה חברותית. אז אתה יכול לשאול מה שאתה רוצה. You can ask whatever you want. This makes their mashe make more sense. Whatever you want. אתה יכול לשאול מה שאתה רוצה. You can ask what that you want. Whatever you want. מצוין. Did I say that? Mitsuyan. Why do I keep wanting to move the stress around? Thank you. Muay Mabani, your role here is just to literally correct my weird stress patterns every time I move stuff. Zevo would say tipusi. I don't think we have 2 stress syllables here. Mitsuyan. Okay. And then, okay. אתה יכול לשאול מה שאתה רוצה. And he goes, טוב. אז בואי נתחיל מהקיבוץ. So let's go. Let's start. Intellectualize, which I don't know if I explicitly said hello to you, so hi, shalom. Said, let's start. I would translate to בוא נתחיל, not just נתחיל. Or בואו appropriately. Okay. Yeah, and what's the deal with this? Bo, these are the imperatives, right? So boi is to the feminine, and then bo'u is like plural. Is that correct? Money, thank you. Yeah, so boi natchil me'kibbutz. That's terrible. I don't know what that is. Was that it's like a Russian accent. So dov, az boi natchil me'kibbutz. Az boi natchil me'kibbutz. So boi natchil me'kibbutz. I feel like boi natchil is going to be something that I use all the time, so I need to get that right, because if I'm talking to Chaim Sheli, if I'm talking to Neshama Sheli, I'm going to say boi natchil be whatever. Like, okay, let's start with az boi natchil me, I don't know, the dishes, the laundry, whatever it is we're doing at home, the cleaning. All right. Whoever wants to learn some Hebrew can use Magnus Press. Zevel, thank you for that. Yeah, let's start from the kibbutz. Let's start at the kibbutz. Because remember the previous dialogue, she said, yesh lecha rak asara yamim. And then what did she say? Where do you want to start from? Mima? What do you want to start from? From what? Mima ta chotze leatchil. Let's see, is that where she said it? I'm really trying to tie this all together. Boom. Yes. יש לך רק 10 ימים. ממה אתה רוצה להתחיל? Where do you want to start from? So he answers after this whole other conversation. This is still kind of plugged into the other one. אז בואי נתחיל מהקיבוץ. Let's start at the kibbutz. From the kibbutz. All right, so this has been about an hour of intense Hebrew. I have one more question before. אז בואי נתחיל מהקיבוץ. Thank you, phrase stress. אז בואי נתחיל מקיבוץ. Okay. I have one last question, because I remember last week I asked about ein davar. They said ein davar means never mind, and you all said, we don't really say that. We say something else. I have forgotten what you say instead of ein davar. That ein davar is like a little old-fashioned, because you'll remember Peter and Maya, they were bamisada meod popularit, and they said, never mind, we're going to go to Misada Pachot Popularit. And I'm trying to remember what it was. Zevel says, not Mea Kibbutz. David HaKohen, what book is that? Is there an English to Arabic book like that? This is the Routledge Colloquial Grammar, not grammar, the Routledge Colloquial Textbook for Hebrew. I'm using version 1 here. I have version 2 here. They both have a bunch of flaws, which I complain about. When I have been studying Levantine Arabic on live streams, which is Mondays, but not necessarily tomorrow, I have been using the Routledge Colloquial Levantine Arabic, which is similarly very good in some ways and very bad in others. One benefit is they do have audio online, and one detriment that I complain about nonstop in the Arabic live stream is that they give you way too much information about too many dialects. But yes, they exist, and you can click through in the link in description for my Amazon affiliate link, and you can find all that stuff there. They're okay. I like them, but they have their flaws. All right, so Alo davar ein loma. Okay, so like it ain't no thing. Like alo davar. I like that. Okay, there's a hole. In be'aya, no problem. I like in be'aya. In be'aya. Yeah. Hakol tov. Okay. Okay. All right. David, thank you so much, and welcome. If you like the channel, like and subscribe. I'm just about to wrap up, but yeah, I'm working on this, and we're gonna get it together. And I'm just really having fun getting a lot of like feedback from everybody, and kind of working through this. So let's see, Zevel, what do you have here? I'm looking. You're sharing in the chat. Let me see what's going on here from my authorized moderator. A modern Hebrew grammar. Nice. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I've seen this one, a user-friendly reference and exercise book. It's a pretty good one. I'm a big fan of Lewis Glenart's grammars, but they're a lot more sort of linguistically minded, a little bit more advanced. All right, so Omer, lo nora. Lo nora. I like that, lo nora. What is nora? Lo nora. What does nora mean? That's my last question before I wrap up. And I will say, I love studying Hebrew. אני מת על ללמוד עברית. Especially, במיוחד, עם אתם, with all of you. I don't know why I'm translating it like I'm like I'm saying Tanakh or something. I shouldn't translate every word. Terrible. Oh, nora, like yamim noraim. Okay. Yamim noraim. Nora. Lo nora, not terrible. Lo nora. I love that. Easy to remember. Yair, can I say what grammar I recommend? The dense one. Yeah, I'll share a picture of it on screen before I go. Let's see. New. Yada-da-da. They're a little hard to find. If you can't find it, just email me at thelanguagejones at gmail.com. That's thelanguagejones at gmail.com. But let's see, Hebrew grammar. And this is the one that I have, the Grammar of Modern Hebrew. So clearly you can find it because I found it, but it's $173. So see if you can find it for not that. Yeah, it's very, very good. I might in the next live stream show like some extracts from it. He also has written a essential grammar for rootlage, which is much shorter and easier to read, but you know he cut a lot out. And that's one in this series. They all look the same. The covers all look the same. They have this weird sort of geometric two-color thing going on across different languages. But that's a really good one. So those are the ones that I recommend to go really, really deep. Let's see, intellectualize. The prepositions always mix the personal pronouns into one word. I don't think there's ever an exception to this, but it'd be interesting if someone can think of one. To my knowledge, there is not one, and that's one of the interesting things about Hebrew is that you have subject pronouns, but you do not have standalone object pronouns, whether indirect or direct object. You have clitics, and for the direct object, they sort of cliticize onto what looks a lot like et, like the direct object marker. And for indirect, you have, la or whatever, all sorts of different pronouns. Oh my goodness. My wife is telling me that I just talked about all the stuff, but I didn't actually show the books on the screen. So let me do that because it turns out I actually have to manage what cameras I use. So hold on. Hold, please. Thank you, Chaim Sheli, Neshama Sheli. Okay, let's do this. Boo, boo, boo. And then here you go. You should see this on the screen now. So the essential grammar of modern Hebrew, much cheaper, more easy to find, is Routledge Essential Grammar. And then the inessential, very thorough Hebrew grammar is this one with the sort of papyrus-looking script. You can find it different places. It looks like this is still the essential grammar for like $20. So it's a little hard to find. This one, let's see, they have it on Amazon for what is that? $130. So I'm gonna say if you can't find it, just let me know, and I don't know, maybe we can find Lewis and send him a couple of bucks. But if you can't find a PDF somewhere, let me know. Intellectualize. I said imatem, didn't I? Instead of itchem. Itchem. That should be the right way of doing it. Itchem. So yeah, Zeva says learning a language is expensive. It's you don't need that book. I will share excerpts from it next week. It's very, very, it's old, so it's almost like typewriter-y style. It's very thorough to the point that a language learner is not really helped by it, but a linguist will find it interesting. I'm more than an hour in, so I'm going to stop because in order to do this live stream, I have to turn off the AC in this room, and it is getting very, very schwitzy. I'm getting schnatzy. And it's a whole thing. So I'm once I get my haircut for Lag Bomer, I'll be a little bit better. But I am boiling in this room. Ze cham meod. Ze mamash cham in my cheder, right? B'cheder sheli. I've just learned possessive, so b'cheder sheli. Anyway, with that, I will say thank you all. No Arabic tomorrow because I'm still digesting what I learned, and I'm getting a haircut and so on. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm not sure what's going on because I have like a lot of real life work stuff coming up, which includes a lot of travel. I may have some, like I might just go live on my phone or something for a few minutes if I have the time, but I actually have to go like work, earn a living, serve my country, like do important stuff. That's not just blabbing about language on YouTube. So, but it helps pay the rent, and then I can make more YouTube videos. So I think in the next few weeks, it's a little iffy whether or not I'll have live streams. Maybe a couple weeks from now I'll have both of them, but I'm not certain. It depends on my Wi-Fi situation. And then towards the end of June, for the rest of July, I'll be back on it. And at some point, I'm probably going to stop with Arabic altogether because I have just a very short-term goal here and go back to Persian because I love it and it's more useful to me. So we'll see what happens. Zevo, proud American. Yeah, happy Memorial Day to, I guess not happy, but have a meaningful and happy Lag Bomer, meaningful Memorial Day. Enjoy your long weekend, everybody. Summer is here. Kites is here. Fella says, "Mama." Is it mamash? Mamash? It's mamash in Yiddish. Okay, mamash. Let me just fix all my stress. And Zevo said, "Proud American, freedom." I can actually hear the like the eagle sound from those. And Large Dark Rooster has exactly the right idea here. Litraot, yalla, bye. And I'm going to keep narrating, ending the stream until it goes away, but I am done. All right. Thank you all, and be well. See you next week.